There is a tide in the affairs of men, a nick of time. We perceive it now before us. To hesitate is to consent to our own slavery.
John Witherspoon is a fascinating character who's often overlooked nowadays. Modern Western political thought textbooks tend not to have chapters on Witherspoon in his own right, but he was a big influence on figures like James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, and others who wrote the Federalist Papers, which debated the sort of origins and basic ideas of the US Constitution.
The young Witherspoon, I think, was a bit of a mixture, just as the older Witherspoon is a bit of a mixture.
But he was also a man of action. He took part in the Battle of Falkirk. He was a key member of the Revolutionary Committee. He signed the Declaration of Independence. So as much as he was clearly an intellectual, he was also a man of action, which makes him a very interesting character.
He had a fairly strict upbringing in the manse of Yester in Gifford, East Lothian, and his father, I think, was a diligent parish minister of the old style, Calvinistic, quite a disciplinarian, I suspect, a love of French theology.
John was born in 1723, a child of the manse. It was left to his mother to take care of his early Christian education within the household.
She taught him to read, and he was able to read by the time he was 4.
He had read the Bible and could memorise large sections of it.
When you think of the old town, as we call it now, of the city of Edinburgh, it was a high-rise slum by today's standards. People lived by cheek by jowl. The poor, the rich, the merchant classes all lived together, which certainly led to I think, a democratic tradition arising round a university which Witherspoon attended.
The presbyteries were invited by the government to form militias from within their community, and in 1746, the beginning of the year, Witherspoon raised a militia of 50 men from the Beath area in order to go and fight against the Jacobites at the Battle of Falkirk.
Our liberty, our family's liberty is at stake. The presbytery in Irvine has charged me, John Witherspoon, to rally the men of B.
He raised a militia of 50 men, and this is a young man in 1746.
I will lead you. Where you stand, I will stand. I could not, would not ask you to lay down your lives for the freedoms of Scotland if I myself was not willing to lay down my own life.
He seemed to be a natural leader and took upon himself to do just that.
Witherspoon was a political theorist but also a theologian, and human nature is central to any political thinker's view of the world.
So, I am to believe that the universe is a huge machine, wound up from everlasting necessity, and consisting of an infinite number of links and chains.
But there's this sort of idea that what he was trying to do was to kind of set up structures that would help to guide human nature.
He preached a sermon in Paisley Abbey on the 7th of September 1758. Sitting in the congregation were some of the ministers who had opposed his call to Paisley Lakekirk. They had objected to him coming to the Lakeart because he allegedly was the author of a controversial pamphlet called Ecclesiastical Characteristics.
So he finds himself here
and
with all his enemies sitting in the
ranged
pews in front of him.
Yes.
Now there's
And
a chance
he
he's not going to miss.
He's not going to miss it, and he didn't miss them and hit the wall.